Hey, what's up, fellow Resto Shamans? It's Shamrock here. I just wanted to create a quick video, and I think I'm going to do this weekly, like maybe every Wednesday or Thursday night, after I've gotten, a little bit of experience for the week. But I just wanted to make sort of like a weekly talent build that people could follow, because the affixes, do change week to week, whether it be fortified or tyrannical or other affixes like explosive or, whatever. So this can just be, a weekly quick thing for you to look at if you don't necessarily know what talents to take, and you want to at least get a starting point on what to do for whatever the affixes are. This will be a good weekly guide for you to check out. Okay, so this week we have the just pull it up. This week we have Tyrannical, Sanguine, Explosive, and then Thundering. So because of that, this is the standard build that I've created that you see on the screen. So I'll just go through, and I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet, but I'll go through a few things on the left tree and then a few things on the right tree. So first on the left tree, because it's explosive week, you need to spec into Frost Shock, and that is really going to help you get rid of the explosives. A lot of groups think it's a bit of a healer mechanic. In my opinion, it's mostly a healer mechanic, but the group should be helping out. But anyways, Frost Shock makes us one of the most effective healers at handling the explosive affix. And in addition to running Frost Shock, you should actually be using a certain macro that makes it Mouseover. And I'll play a clip on the screen probably so you can see what that means. But here's the macro here. I will also post it in the details of this video so that you can just copy it directly. But this basically makes it so that instead of having to target the explosives and like click on them or tab to them and hit your Frost Shock, you can actually just mouse over them and hit Frost Shock, and it will hit them that way. They will always die with one Frost Shock, so that's all you'll ever need. And it basically it turns it into a game of like whack-a-mole, which is kind of fun. But anyways, this will make your life a lot easier for dealing with explosive, and you'll impress a lot of groups with the amount of explosives you can get just by using that macro and Frost Shock. Okay, because it's also tyrannical, I'm going to be taking Earth Elemental, Spirit Wolf, and Plains Traveler. So this is all just stuff to help you survive. You should definitely be taking Elemental Orbit as well, so that you can put Earth Shield on yourself for extra survival as well. And sorry, I just took the point out of Mana Spring because it actually should be in Swirling Currents. I just didn't notice that. But okay, so given this standard build, oh, and you definitely should have a Nature's Guardian as well, because that is also going to help you with your survivability in Tyrannical. And then also, I'm a huge advocate of Thundershock. I think it's one of the best card control abilities that we have in the game, and it's really cool that they've given it to shamans for this expansion. But anyways, Sanguine weeks, so any week with the Sanguine affix, whether it be fortified or tyrannical, is the one week where I actually do not take Thundershock. I just take the base Thunderstorm talent, and that's going to act as a knockback so that you can knock away any enemies that are going to drop Sanguine in a bad spot. So yeah, the only other things that I would play around with on this left tree, if you have to go into Algathar Academy, I would take a point out of Surging Shields and put it into here, and then 1 point out of Swirling Currents and put it into my Poison Cleansing Totem. And this is going to help you with the Overgrown Ancient, which is the tree boss that you should definitely take this totem for. The other dungeons where this will fluctuate is if you need Purge, which would be in Azure Vaults or probably Ruby Life Pools. Once again, you can take from Surging Shields and put that into there. This is also, Ruby Life Pools especially, is also a dungeon where I like the extra mana, so I would probably take a point out of here and put it into Mana Spring as well. But so Swirling Currents and Surging Shields are kind of like the two talents that I'm playing with here. You could also take away, like if you really want Mana Spring, like say you're just not super comfortable with your mana, you can take away the Graceful Spirit talent as well. And this will vary depending on the dungeon as well. So for Ruby Life Pools, I like having this because I like being able to move, especially during the Inferno Trash during the ring and the bosses, especially the first boss. But if I was doing something like Algathar Academy, I really wouldn't need Graceful Spirit. So you can play around with that as well. But yeah, so that's the left tree, and that's pretty much it. I wouldn't really go into this. The only other thing I would consider is if you're doing Halls of Valor, is you can take Stoneskin Totem. It does provide a little bit of extra DR on the Fenrir boss, which can be pretty tricky on higher tyrannical weeks. So in that case, what I would do is, once again, take from my 2 points, and I would go into Totemic Projection, because once again, I don't want to take this Thundershock talent, and then I would probably go into that, and that might help me out with that. Okay, so that's it for the left tree. A few things on the right tree that I would point out for Tyrannical week. I usually take Lava Surge, and the reason I do is because that's really going to increase your single target DPS. If you haven't checked out my DPS rotation video that I posted yesterday, go ahead and check that out, because it kind of shows you what the difference between taking Lava Surge and not taking Lava Surge is for both AoE and single target. So yeah, Lava Surge. I spec into Spirit Walker's Title Totem. This is it's going to be one of those personal preference things. Like, you definitely don't need this talent, but it is going to make your life easier for some of the harder bosses, especially if you're doing like really high Tyrannical keys. It's just an extra cooldown to have, and it's really cool because even though it feels awkward with the clunky cast being so much faster than the global, it's still a super fast chain heal that you can get off in like really quick time. It's actually, it's more than one, it's a few of them, so that's great. This week, because Ancestral Awakening I feel like is maybe more of a fortified, where there's like random damage happening throughout the entire dungeon, and that will help keep people who are low health alive. I feel like for Tyrannical it's not as reliable, so instead of going through Ancestral Awakening and wasting 2 points, I just put 1 point into Primordial Wave, and then that's how I get back down into Tidebringer and High Tide. I actually don't take Downpour, or I haven't been taking Downpour this week. I feel like if you're going to take Downpour, then you don't take Primordial Wave, and vice versa. You definitely don't need both with the new kit that we have with 10.0.7. So yeah, with this build I've taken Primordial Wave, and then I've also taken Resurgence here. So if you're someone who doesn't struggle with mana at all, or if you're running Mana Spring and that's enough for you, you can take this point from Resurgence and put it somewhere else. If you really wanted both Downpour and Primordial Wave, you could do that. But what I would do here is, if I didn't need Resurgence, I would actually probably put it into Ancestral Protection Totem. This is actually a very underused, but I would say underrated cooldown. It's very useful in higher keys, not just for the B-res that it potentially allows, but the 10% health increase. It's basically a rally in certain situations, which can be really, really useful. But yeah, that's it. So this is the build that I would use. I'm actually going to put this loadout in the details for this video, so you can just import that into your build and use it from there. And like I said, this is a starting point, so if you don't agree with any of these talents, or you'd rather run something else, that's totally fine. Do what works for you, do what helps you time your keys, but this will, like I said, give you somewhere to start with, and then you can tweak it from there. But yeah, good luck this week. So far I've found it fun. It's actually one of the better push weeks for Tyrannical, I think, and this build will probably help you out quite a bit in hitting those higher Tyrannical keys.